the Human Torch was denied a bank loan. uh, hey nerds.
Hey nerds,
Hey
let me start the
noids.
timer. Are we gonna jump straight into it?
Let's jump straight into Texas
You don't want to
laws.
start out with something light, with like the VGAs and desegregation.
You what would the IP segregation? I'm gonna be opposite that stance.
Okay,
So give it an explanation.
okay. Um,
Kevin thought this was
so
important.
last one of last week's shorts was about Magic the Gathering, and my
Gathering magic.
character was complaining that Magic the Gathering Wizards of the Coast was adding all existing IPs into their cards or whatever, however you want to put it. So eventually you can have Frodo fighting Lara Croft, fighting Godzilla, fighting Warhammer
And
guys,
pretty soon Final Fantasy characters.
and Final Fantasy characters fighting Guile from Street Fighter. And the short was also about Magic the Gathering people being racist. Side note,
Those
that was
cards.
when we were discussing what to do for the Magic the Gathering players be like short. That was one of our original ideas, was to make them racist.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but there was
When we looked at the
we
cards,
looked up those banned cards that had like racist
I
overtones.
I wish that we could. I wish I could remember the names
There was
off the
like
top, but it was really funny.
stone throwing devils was one
Yeah,
of them.
like honestly, people. I don't know if I can put a link in the description. YouTube doesn't like it when I put links in the description, but if I can, then or maybe I'll just have them pop up on screen because they're so
Yeah, that
funny.
that was our original idea for that short, and
But Magic beat us to it.
we organically came back to it without remembering that was our original idea. So I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, I think when you're adding all these different IPs into one game, it kind of waters down the game and makes it less unique. Magic. I'm not gonna say Magic the Gathering has like the best, story ever for their universe and all their cards and stuff, but I mean it's definitely a rich backstory, and I think adding all this other stuff into it just makes it all watered down
My
and
compare
less unique.
my comparison would be like to Yu-Gi-Oh, which I'm more familiar with, how they
Hmm.
have their own like, Egyptians, the ancient Egyptians had these monsters that they would bring to life and they trapped them in cards, and so like that's the story. And then there's like a ton of lore that goes into some of the sets, like the archetypes and stuff.
Yeah,
And I do like that. And Yu-Gi-Oh, as far as I know, Yu-Gi-Oh's crossovers are usually like thematic. Like they did like a Yu-Gi-Oh version of Star Wars, a Yu-Gi-Oh version of Metal Gear or James Bond.
yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I think that's fine if you kind of
Do
do
your own
stuff
spin.
inspired by other IPs, but to straight up add James Bond or Luke Skywalker into Yu-Gi-Oh, I mean, would you like that?
I'm not as opposed, but at the same time, I'm not super in love with Magic. So like Magic did Street Fighter, Magic did Lord of the Rings, they're going to be doing Final Fantasy even though Final Fantasy has its own card game. So everyone out there should probably play it.
Well, just take for example a game you really like. So MGO2, right?
Yeah.
Imagine, MGO2 is still popular, and Konami takes a look at Fortnite and is like, they're getting a lot of money for Spiderman skins and Eminem skins and
I would
and
think it
whatever
was
skins, and Konami decides to start adding all that stuff into MGO, and pretty soon you're trying to play one of those MGO2 tournaments on Saturday nights or whenever they were.
this comes down to like a fundamental difference in like how I, because you know me that I'm pretty accepting of like all things unless something negatively impacts or takes away from something I like. So
Okay,
for instance, I didn't like Metal Gear Survive because when that game came out, it negatively impacted the series and it was a cash grab from Konami. It wasn't fun, it was
that is true.
garbage.
Yes.
So that hurt the series and I was against that. but something that inherently is really neutral, is dependent on the individual if they like it, then I don't care.
But like the Metal Gear universe has a certain vibe,
Yeah.
and do you think it would hurt that vibe to see Spider-Man running around shooting Eminem?
If it was if anything to keep MGO alive, I would have been on board with.
Okay.
Like, I mean, so use some like I think Magic is like a fair thing because I had zero interest in Magic and I didn't care about it. I played Final Fantasy, it's the exact same gameplay. And so now that I know it's the exact same gameplay, then now I can have Street Fighter characters, Final Fantasy, Lord of the Rings, and I already know how to play. Now I'm interested in playing. So I think they're just trying to bring in the casual.
The reason I was bringing up Fortnite is because I think that is the reason why companies are now starting to do this is because of Fortnite and
But
they
I mean,
see how
dude,
popular that is.
you're talking to somebody who lived and breathed death battles where we were constantly comparing characters from opposite or ends of the spectrum, and we were always talking about, remember the classic Darth Vader versus Godzilla.
Hmm.
Shout out audience, let us know in the comments after you've liked the video right now, like it, and then also subscribe. I notice we get a lot of people liking our videos, but or I'm sorry, we get a lot of people watching, but nobody likes the video.
Yes, please like the video. That would help us a
And
lot.
also let us know in the comments who would win in a fight, Darth Vader or Godzilla.
Okay.
See, I'm not going to give the answer, but this is an obvious one. And that was like a
I
huge,
agree that it's also obvious.
it was a, it was absolutely like a contentious debate between all of our group of friends for years that everyone gets so into it, you know. I looked up all the history of Godzilla and what he was capable of and all the history of Vader because I wanted the most accurate, answer. But again, at the end of this episode, we'll declare the winner officially.
Well, so I mean, I'm not saying that
But I like that kind of stuff.
that games can never do it, but it seems like every game is trying to do it now.
It's
Like
yeah,
in recently in Call of Duty, and by recently I'm saying like the last few years. I mean, you can get Kevin Durant skins, who's a basketball player. What does he have to do with Call of Duty? You can get Nicki Minaj skins. Is
I
it
feel like
really
she would take up too much space.
is Nicki Minaj really that hardcore that she's running around on a
She's
battlefield
the
shooting
bad guy
people?
Chun Li.
Like it,
Do you remember her song where she said, "I'm that bad guy Chun Li," and I'm like, Chun Li's not a bad guy. What are you talking about?
no, I don't remember that song.
Dude, she made like a whole song about like Chun Li, or she mentioned like the whole. Ugh, I don't even want to
No.
think about it.
Well, I mean, I feel like it's just too much. It waters down the IPs and makes them less unique. Um, kind of partially related. I hate it in like pretty much all. I know you don't play MMOs, but MMOs are really bad about
They're
this.
doing it now.
What they do is that there will always be like some sort of holiday themed event
You don't like that?
or like some sort of Halloween themed event for like the holiday Christmas one. It's like there's always some kind of Santa Claus analog, right?
But why don't you like
And there's
that?
always some sort of quest to deliver presents or something. And
Dude, Street Fighter did it. Street Fighter 5 did it. We had Halloween theme, we
yeah,
had Christmas
and
theme.
I didn't like it then either.
But you cannot deny that Zangief's Christmas costume was like the best one of all time.
Just because maybe he had like the beard.
Well, he had that big old fur wolf
The
bear head.
the his best costume is of course Mecha Zangief.
I'm partial to Macho Man.
But
I like the way that looked. Not enough
yeah,
people
I
used it.
just think that yeah, I mean I've said it like 3 times already. It makes it makes the game less unique. Like I don't need every game to be super duper 100% serious all the time, but I also don't want my games to be, goofy tongue in cheek all the time either.
So, I mean, I'm certain that there's something that I probably would want to not be in that category. I'm certain I could probably think of something. But hell, even Final Fantasy 13. Remember Final Fantasy 13 brought in characters in the Colosseum that you could fight, and remember you had different costumes. You could get like
Yeah,
a
but that
Yuma
was all like
costume.
Final Fantasy stuff. And like the Colosseum thing, it wasn't really like
Yeah.
it wasn't like a canon thing. It was just like a DLC side thing you could play.
Well, that kind of stems into a greater argument. We can kind of sidestep into a different topic. Here lately, have you been seeing have you been seeing people are kind of getting back onto the mindset that physical is better than digital?
Yes, that's because all these streaming services are cranking up their prices and then they remove content. There was something about Sony removing a bunch of content
It
that
was
people bought
Discovery.
back in the day.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's the Discovery Channel had a bunch of shows that people purchased, like Deadliest Warrior, Deadliest Catch maybe was also. I don't
All the deadlies.
wait. I don't know if it was Deadliest Warrior because I actually bought a couple episodes back when we used to watch Deadliest Warrior all the time. You remember that?
Yes, I do remember.
I
Yeah.
got some funny jokes on that too,
Yeah.
but I guess we gotta hold on to them.
Yeah.
But uh, but basically, yeah, Sony's removing all of them. I don't know the legality of it. I
I mean they
don't.
they did it, so I
Yeah.
mean
Well, I mean, so like so that does concern me. You remember me and Kevin a few years back, Kevin was telling me he wanted to consolidate all of his digital catalog into one service.
yeah.
And I was like, dude, do Sony because I bought all my stuff through Sony. And then like a year later, Sony's like, yo, we're not going to carry movies and shows anymore. And I was
Yeah.
like, what about
Yeah.
all the stuff I bought? So they left it. You still have access to it, but it's through a separate Sony My Videos tab on the PS5. So like if you ever bought anything on the PlayStation, movies or TV shows, you can go get in the App Store on the PlayStation service and the PSN. And is it even called PSN anymore? PlayStation Network?
Yeah,
I
I
don't
feel
know.
like
I
it
don't
is.
know. But you get in the PlayStation Store and you can find the app. It's called search videos or something, and you can download an app to watch everything that you ever bought through Sony. And I liked that because everything I ever bought, which admittedly it wasn't like a crazy amount. I would buy like single episodes of some of my favorite old shows, like stuff that I liked. I think I watched The Unit a bunch on there, and Workaholics. I had a couple of Workaholics episodes. Anyway, um, but yeah, like them having the ability to just remove that content is
Yeah.
like what? That's like
Yeah.
someone coming into your house and being like, "That's my DVD."
Yeah, exactly. If this is going to become like a new normal, then I can definitely see like people buying more physical.
Well,
Um,
then companies
an
aren't just
another
aren't
thing,
making
another thing I
physical.
hate, another benefit about buying stuff physical is that if later on, an episode is deemed to be problematic,
Yeah,
they'll just remove that episode digitally.
Workaholics.
They'll just remove that episode digitally, but if you have the physical copy, you can still watch the episode.
It was me and you looking up that episode of Workaholics, right?
Yeah, that
The one with
episode
Chris D'Elia,
there was like an episode in season 1 where
completely gone.
that dude got in trouble for some stuff. We don't need to go into it, but that episode is gone. Always Sunny,
Yeah,
the ones where they
some of the
do
funniest
where the
episodes.
ones where they do brown face and black face.
Lethal
I mean,
Weapon 5.
they're not doing it to be mean. They're doing it because their characters are stupid
Yeah, it's no different
and it's
really than Tropic
hilarious.
Thunder.
In Community, one of the ones where they're playing Dungeons and Dragons, and what's the what's the the Asian teacher's name?
I don't remember. I don't remember his name in the show, but I'm Kim Jong.
Yeah, yeah. His character paints his face to look like a dark elf, so it's like basically like
Yeah.
super dark, and that episode got removed, because of blackface. If you buy all that stuff physically, you don't have to worry about that anymore.
Speaking of which, like DVDs. So side note to all you people out there who, still buy physical. I have had movies like that I never opened that they were still sealed, and I'm like, man, it's still sealed. I haven't watched that movie in ages, and like it shows up on Netflix, and I watch it, and I'm like, that's why I haven't watched it in so long, because it wasn't that good. And then I look it up on eBay, and it's like $60 for like a DVD, or like $70 for a Blu-ray, and I'm just
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
holy crap.
there's a lot of stuff that's basically out of print, and and why would these companies put them into print if people aren't buying physically? That reminds me, I think this month the Weird Al movie came out physically,
Oh,
so
really?
we need to get copies of that for
Oh, yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Because I definitely don't want to watch Roku again.
Yeah. I think I uninstalled Roku like immediately after
Yeah,
I
same
watched
here,
it.
dude. Same here.
Yeah.
Uh, but I guess continuing in that same vein of digital versus physical, parents, because I obviously it's not kids watching our show. And if there's kids watching the show, good for you. Um, Parents, pay attention to how much money your kids are dropping in Fortnite. Like Fortnite, Roblox. What are some of the other ones? IMVU was one back in the day that Carrie used to put money into. But
It basically any of these freemium games.
any of the free to play games, they get you with that free to play, and then your kids come to you and they're like, "Mom, but I want to get this suit or I want to get this outfit. It's only going to be there for a week." Or Fall Guys is kind of doing the same
Yeah.
stuff, and you're going to be dropping so much money into that game, really just to placate your child, to let them have something to do throughout the day. And at some point, those servers are going to close, and every dollar that you ever spent is just gone. That's
Yep.
going to happen. It's not like, and most of the people watching this are probably also gamers. I doubt we have anybody who is, not on the up and up or whatever. But look at how many different multiplayer games you played in the past, Call of Duties, that you bought map packs or you bought,
Yeah.
whatever you put money into, like MGO. Everything they ever put out for that game, I bought, and it's just gone.
Yep.
Like it's just gone. Like
That's
there's
true.
I can't even. Well, it's not true because there is the Save MGO guys that brought MGO 1 and 2 back, but but all of that, like what's a good example? Like no, I guess in Call of Duty at least you can run around the map. Have you ever done that?
What
Like
do you
put on
mean?
an old shooter and just run around the map for like nostalgia?
No, I have not done
You
that
never get
yet.
nostalgic about a game?
Not about like a shooter.
Dude, I put a lot of hours into it.
Like maybe old fighting games. I'll put one on and do some like trials or something, but that's about
Yeah, I
it.
do that too.
Um,
Street Fighter 4 is really fun.
Another thing about physical versus digital, it's so easy nowadays to fill up your hard drive if you're buying games digitally.
Oh yeah.
Like I feel like the new Call of Duty games just alone are like
100 was
are
that
like
100 megabytes
100,
or 100
200
gigabyte.
gigs or something like that.
Yeah.
And
Same thing with Grand Theft Auto.
the base PS5 they only came with what, like 1,000?
It was like 500.
It was only 500. Okay,
I
yeah,
don't even think
so
it was a terabyte.
yeah, so and then plus one more thing, you can share games if you buy them physically. Sometimes Bobby will buy a game on Nintendo Switch Online. I'm like, hey, we should have bought that physical because I wanted to play too.
Yeah. Trey's borrowing my Spider-Man 2 right now. He was
Oh,
like, "Yeah,
yes.
I'm probably going to get it like next week or something." I was like, "Bro, I got it right here and I already beat it.
Yeah.
Take it, bud." Now, it is true that that does hurt the game company, but but at the same time, it's no different than like renting. Like if Trey takes it, plays it, likes it, and then some DLC comes out and he wants to get it, maybe he's more likely to spend the 15-20 bucks for the DLC. Maybe he gets a Game of the Year edition. um
This could be just, our generation and this is an old people thing, but I have fond memories of bringing one of my games to a friend's house, for a sleepover that
yeah,
he didn't have, or him bringing a game I didn't have over and we could play it together,
yeah, but also too though, that's that whole couch co-op stuff.
Yeah.
I absolutely, whenever online multiplayer came out, like, and you already know, like, I'm late to adopt new trends because I'm just like, bro, I got something good already. Why are we grass is green in it? Like, why do I need to, be worried about what the next big thing when I'm super happy with playing Tekken 4, bro? Why do I gotta play 5?
Yeah.
Fighting games is different. I'll always be excited for a new fighting game. But you are very different than me when it comes to playing old fighting games because I constantly want to play old fighting games also. Like I was gonna ask you a second ago when you were talking about doing trials for Street Fighter. Do you notice the older you get, the easier it is to do those trials?
Mm, no, I'm not.
Street Fighter 4 was hard, way harder than 5. And I did all the ones for 5 and
Well,
then
well, I feel like my fighting game ability is always improving, so I think I am definitely better than I was at any time in the past.
Yeah.
So
But I mean, so like with Street Fighter 4 trials back in the day,
those were hard.
those were very hard. And back in the day, it took me like a good solid year to like crank them all out. Well, because also remember we would every time we had a group here, we would just play.
Yeah.
But it took me like a solid year to crank all those out. And I remember there was a couple that I just could not do. Notably was the one
Gin.
with Gin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that last one with Gin, dude,
Yeah.
was insane. And I remember it was Casey was the one who, and Casey was okay. Like he was okay at execution, but like I had the what was it? I had the well-rounded ability where I was good at like a 9 out of 10 at everything, and then he was like a 10 out of 10 at like Gin's last special. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
last combo. And so he got that one for me, and I was like, oh, thank God, because now I don't have to
Shout
worry.
out to Cian for winning Evo with Gin.
Yes. And then never. Oh wait, no, he was pretty good. He was a pretty good Ibuki in 5,
Yeah.
and then he switched to Seth. And a side note,
Yes, he did use that for a while. Yeah. I think now he uses DJ
parents.
in 6.
That's what we should have done. Is hey, everyone in the comments, let us know how much money your kid spent in Fortnite in the last year. God, I hate that Penny plays Fortnite now. She's only up to $60 though. Luckily
For the year?
for the year. Well, she just started.
Okay.
Yeah, it's mostly like, Dad, I got all A's on my report card, and I'm like, that's right, baby. I'm proud of you. Here's $20 in Fortnite.
Here's some V-Bucks.
Ugh. Anybody also who has watched any of our older sketches about Fortnite will pretty much get how we how we feel.
Well, we just did
Another one,
a
yeah.
Fortnite short, right? With the Fortnite tree. The
Also,
Because I was playing Fortnite Big Bang Theory.
people in the comments, let us know if y'all thought that was too far. Let us know if y'all thought that was too far. I wanted Kevin to pick the pickle up and to take a bite of the pickle, but Kevin was like, "Nope, I'm gonna raw dog it." What were you talking about? The Texas laws.
All right, getting super serial now. So Texas laws have been pissing me off lately. First of all, well,
What'd they do to you, Kevin?
well,
What'd they
first
do
of
to you?
all, we can start out with the one about. I'm not gonna say the word. I'll say the about the adult entertainment law.
There you go.
So a while back, Texas passed a law that said you would need to have like photo identification to visit adult entertainment websites. That got appealed by certain adult entertainment websites,
Yeah, all the
and
big
recently
ones.
came out that those websites lost the appeal. So pretty soon in Texas, you'll get to the point where you'll have to submit a photo ID to these adult entertainment websites just to gain access,
And they
or
know
they might even just not let you have access at all if you live in Texas. I think
they
that's
did that in like Utah.
I think that's happened in Utah.
Yeah. I remember that. It was a couple years back. They just denied access blanket to everybody.
And
So
I
everyone looking for a
and I, and I
VPN.
yeah, exactly. It's just so stupid. There's so much better stuff they could spend their time on than this dumb law that they came up with.
Well, so do you remember, was that part of that group of laws that were supposed to go into effect in September?
I think it was around then, yeah.
Because I looked up the list of laws that are going into effect this year, and it was like 770. And so I was like, damn, that's a lot. So I'm not going to scroll through all that. You know what I mean? And there's probably
Okay.
a bunch that are like traffic
Yeah, I'm sure
stuff.
there's a lot of bullcrap in there.
Yeah, there was a lot of dumb stuff, but there was a lot of good stuff too. Like stuff that I thought was positive. And so the adult one, I'm like, yeah, it's probably going to affect me. It's probably going to affect everybody. But I don't get it.
Yeah,
They're
what
trying to
I
protect kids, but really all it's doing.
I
Oh,
mean,
wait. But it's important to note. It's very important to note because a line that was in the text of that law was also, in addition to forcing these companies to, prove that it's an adult, they also made it illegal for them to retain that information. Did you see that?
Yeah, but who's going to actually verify that?
Yeah. And so, but then remember you saw that the fine for non-complying was 250,000 for breaking it. Oh no, if a kid came in contact, it was 250,000. And then if it was 5,000 or 10,000 a day until they implemented whatever. And so what I was thinking was if there's like a data breach and your information gets out,
Yeah,
then that's a big, huge lawsuit. So I can see these companies flat out just blanking Texas.
yeah.
And so I think that's going to be funny because that's going to affect a lot of people,
I mean I
including Kevin.
the only the only I'm try to come up with in your head why would they possibly be doing this, and it can't be
I
to
didn't
protect kids.
I didn't
It can't
like
be that.
well cuz remember they also required a disclaimer on that they have to put up a disclaimer as well, like kind of like the cans of Copenhagen, like when you buy tobacco, they have the this product can cause mouth cancer or gum disease or tooth loss. And so that's what they want them to put, a disclaimer saying the harm, mentioning the harmful effects of this content. And I
Yeah,
thought that's
I feel like
subjective.
that's pseudoscience.
That's super subjective, and eh, it's unnecessary. It's unnecessary.
I don't.
I didn't vote for that law to go be passed. I
It's
also just didn't vote.
it's just yeah, that is true. I mean, yeah. I mean, what else can be said about that one? I feel like they're trying the Texas Republicans are trying to force their values on to everyone else.
And typically I'm absolutely against that. I don't like the something subjective like that to be foisted upon us,
Yeah.
who definitely are going to be affected by that. You know what's weird to me?
What?
That people don't admit freely that they visit these sites. That everyone's still so like, oh no, I never, and they get all
Well,
defensive, and it's like, why do you get
I mean
defensive?
that's American society, right? We
Prudes.
care a lot about nudity on TV, but not violence at all. So
I was watching I watched, I don't remember who they were on YouTube, and I'm sorry if I since I didn't remember, but there was a group of people, they talked to random people like average citizens of like Japan,
hmm
and one of them was mentioning, they asked all the girls, the females, like the women, they asked them I was going to make a joke, but I don't want to trigger anybody, but they asked them, you know, what their thoughts on like cheating were.
hmm
And they were like, you know, would you be mad if your husband cheated on you or your spouse cheated on you? And they were like, well, if it's with like a prostitute or something, then no, I don't.
Hmm.
And I was like, what?
Okay. Yeah.
Really?
That's
And they
kind
were
of
like,
weird, but
yeah, like
okay.
as long as it's not like emotional. And I was like, dang, man, Japan.
Hmm.
But
Interesting.
I remember just me and Jen were both like, what? That's weird.
Yeah.
But
Japan's a weird place.
yeah, it's true. America founded by prudes, for the prude, by the prude, you know, dude. But eh,
One of the other ones I wanted to talk about uh
everyone's favorite
everyone's
virus,
everyone's
the
most
C virus.
everyone's most hated um federal senator, Ted Cruz. He he submitted a law that has no chance of being passed, and he wants to make it so all federal employees must go by, I guess, their legal name rather than any preferred name.
Oh, so he's pushing an agenda, a political point.
So yeah, and like I said, this has no chance of being passed.
But what?
But
Who's going by a preferred name?
this is probably to target the trans community, right?
Oh, okay. So he's going after legal.
And but the thing is that he goes by a preferred name, right?
Is his name Thaddeus?
The word Ted is not anywhere on his birth certificate. His name is Raphael.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh my God.
So
I did not know that.
so just I mean just the hypocrisy of that.
He's probably that's a political stunt, and I don't care for that in general. Um, I'm not a fan of.
What I mean, what's so bad about people going by their preferred names anyway? Whether you're into trans or not, I mean, what's wrong with that?
Well, what was the context of what he proposed?
I mean, basically what I said. Federal employees have to go by like their legal names instead of any like preferred
Would
names.
he count? He would count as a federal employee,
Obviously, yeah, for sure.
but is an elected official an employee?
I mean, he gets a paycheck.
True, true. So like I said, that sounds purely political stunt to appease his fan base. That's what that sounds like. He probably has no hope of it passing, and it doesn't matter because he's making it clear where he stands. It sounds like a stunt. He's posturing.
Someone like that has just like no shame.
Yeah, it's
No
stupid.
shame.
It's
And
it's absolutely garbage. It shouldn't. It should be frowned upon.
we need more shame.
Yeah, it should be frowned upon. I will say this though, that there was a lot of laws passed. Like, don't go so hard on Texas. Did you see all the positive stuff?
Well, we can talk about that another episode.
Oh, just the negatives. We just stay negative on this.
The last one I wanted to talk about was the woman who is pregnant, who wants to be not pregnant anymore. And the reason she wants to be not pregnant anymore is because her her fetus, I hope that's not a bad word on YouTube,
Probably
has been diagnosed with basically
a whole bunch of bad.
a ter- a terminal, some sort of terminal illness or terminal something's wrong with it. It's gonna die. And of course, in Texas, we have draconic, you know, laws to deter people from being not pregnant anymore. It's so annoying to talk like this.
Yeah, I know.
And
Thank you, YouTube algorithms.
so this woman had to, basically go to court to get a court to say that yes, she can not be pregnant anymore. And that court said yes, and of course the state appealed it, and then it went up to the Texas Supreme Court, who said no, she is not allowed to be not pregnant anymore. And furthermore, the Attorney General has threatened to sue
Anybody
anyone in
who
Texas who makes her not pregnant anymore. But also another thing about her fetus's condition is that whatever is wrong with it, it could, if she has not become non-pregnant anymore, it might be hard for her to ever get pregnant again.
so this we can't talk about this without also talking about like our own particular opinions on it. And so that is
Well,
essentially what it
well, this
is.
well this particular situation seems pretty black and white to me.
Well,
Like this fetus has no chance
I agree.
of being alive.
I agree with you on this instance 100%. I don't respect not I don't not that I don't respect. That's an incorrect word. I respect the person's right like to choose, right? I'm definitely pro-choice. But when the government but see this is that thing where it's like the majority of people voted for these people to be put in place. The majority of people, I honestly don't even feel like the majority of people think this way. I truly don't. I don't think that everybody in Texas who voted for these Texas people to be in place, in power, I don't think they care about every single one of these issues the same.
Well, going further into it, the reason that Texas has these laws currently is obviously because of the federal Supreme Court and Roe v. Wade was overturned.
Yeah. So
Overturned
people
in
should have a
part
choice.
by judges who were assigned to the court by someone who lost the popular vote.
Uh, so basically, I don't know what to add to that. Yeah, sure. I agree that it should be. I think we should have like lemonade stand type, not pregnants anymore.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you should be, I'm saying that like half jokingly, but at the same time, it's not my decision. I'm not the one doing it. You know,
So
I think people should have access to take care of business. That's what we'll call it. We'll
yeah,
call it taking care of
yeah.
business. So I feel like people should have access to taking care of business, and the government getting in the way, it's not based on their moral compass is entirely like religious, and that's exactly what's going on in certain countries on the other side of the world
um,
between Egypt and
back when Obama was getting Obamacare slash Affordable Care Act passed. Um, what Fox would do is they would talk nonstop about how there were going to be these death panels, right? And they would decide if you could live or die, or if you would get the treatment that you needed. But that's basically
what's happening.
what's happening right now, right? The Republican Party of Texas has decided that they will get to decide.
Forcing a woman to carry a kid that is not going to survive is really is kind of torture. It's kind of torturous.
And
It's
it's
treacherous
it's
as
putting
well.
it's putting the mother's life in danger as well.
Yeah. And people want to have you believe that have you heard about the dwindling population? Have you heard about population collapse recently? Have you that been something you paid attention to at all?
Um, Population collapse.
I'll do some more research on it.
I don't know if this is a real thing.
So basically, a, damn it, this is like a whole separate
But
thing.
yeah, I mean, we can go into that at another point. But what I was trying to say is that
Well, it kind of ties hand in hand with
basically
why.
now, basically everything that I was talking about today is, you know, the Republican Party telling you how you should live. You're not allowed to look at adult entertainment. You're not allowed to make medical
That's
decisions for yourself.
politics.
You're not allowed to go by your preferred name.
That's politics. That's not just the Republican Party. You think all those college kids are just choosing to support Palestinians?
What does that have to do
It's
with
it's their
what we're
mind being made up for them. It's the same thing.
I
That's
don't
called politics.
but what we're talking about right now that's happening in Texas, what is that?
Because you're highlighting the Republican Party. And my contention is that it's stupidity. It's not the Republican Party because there's stupidity
But
all
these
around.
are things that they're actually doing though.
Well, what do you mean?
This is
How is how is how is that mindset not fostered on both sides though?
Well, give me an example.
I just did. The people supporting the Palestinian
Okay, so people protesting in favor
in
of
mass,
Palestinians
being
is the
uneducated.
is the same as forcing a woman to give birth to a terminal baby.
Your definition of
I'm talking about actions. I'm
your
talking about
yeah,
actions
the
versus
action.
thoughts.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Is you're choosing to separate the concept of a political party choosing the mindset of its followers. You're saying that it's different, and I'm saying it's not different. I'm saying that if the Republican Party pushes all of this stuff and the Democrats push one thing, it's exactly the same thing. It's regardless of what the point is. The mind is being made up by the elite, and the elite is stupidity.
Well, we're like I want to bring it back to things that actually have real world consequences. I
Well,
think we're in agreement that people who protest in America over a war that's happening on the other side of the world
well,
has no consequences,
we're
right?
definitely in agreement that protesting in general is stupid.
Yes, I think we are in
As
agreement.
a sketch that we have coming up gonna highlight. But just because it has no real, you say it has no real consequence, but that's not true. Because all that protesting that happens in our country about a third world country, or not, I can't even call them third world because it isn't, doesn't Israel count as like first at this point? I would imagine. They are pretty far advanced, but they're
But but
surrounded.
but okay, but think about how, forget worldwide. Think about how these things affect you locally.
Okay, that was my further point was you say it has no effect or impact, but that's not true because what it is all of these people are protesting,
Okay.
and all these people are supporting movements like the trans stuff and LGBT, and then they
Okay.
start pushing, and then what happens is there's pushback from the other side. That's a ramification. That is
Okay.
a real world example of there being an action taken to combat it. So it's basically like a kid screaming. So if you want to compare like the protesters to a kid screaming in the room, the real world response is the ramification. You have to stop. You have to meet their needs, or you have to, determine, hey, you know what, they're whining about nothing, so Ferber method, they don't get
Okay. Okay.
treatment.
I think okay, so you're coming at this from the angle
It's cause
as
and effect.
as that both sides are bad, right?
Yeah, it's always both sides
All
are
right.
bad.
So can you give me some examples of some actions that the Democratic Party has taken that have direct consequences?
When you say Democratic Party, does it count Democratic representatives?
Yeah, I would say I would say that it does.
Well, you say that now because then I start saying, well, look at some of the stuff AOC has done
Okay,
or said.
tell me about some actual laws that have been passed that you by the Democratic Party that you don't agree with.
No, see, that's a difference than them having real world
Yeah,
ramifications.
see that's what I'm talking about. Actions that actually affect people, i.e.,
Well,
passing
no,
laws
see, that's not the.
versus just people talking.
I'm of the opinion, and I know that you don't agree because, and really, the only contentious thing that you and I have on our actual belief system is what's the only thing that we disagree on? Me and you usually agree on everything in terms of policy, like climate change, like pretty much we think the same in that regard. But the difference between you and me is I think that we live in a society, in a world that there's a game being played. This is
Okay.
what I always tell my parents. There's a game being played between the left and the right. And it's a popularity contest. It's who can we appease, the who can get the most people, happy with the decision making. That's why you never see, and because I've said this before, if Republicans would just embrace climate change, then I would like openly be like, "Oh no, I'm Republican," right? Because that's like the one thing that I feel like we should at least look into a little more. Pay a little more attention to, because there's no denying that, like when COVID happened, and all these cities around the world that are covered in dense smog that you could cut with a knife all of a sudden don't have that when people aren't allowed to go driving. Like, to me, that's air pollution, and that's a provable thing that you can look at and see and feel the effects of, right?
Okay.
And so, like, to me, that is like an important thing, that if like the Republicans picked that up and like dropped all the religious stuff, I'd be happy. But like with the left side, typically I agree with, except for the like thought policing that they do, like the controlling of how you perceive individuals, and what they constitute as like individual rights.
Okay.
Because there's definitely a lot of uh, see, I don't know. It's true, and I'll give you that. Like, I don't know a lot of individual laws that were passed that are like stuff that they've been pushing, but it's really just that sentiment that you can absorb through cultural osmosis that says, I watch all these people speak and I hear the things that they talk about, and I'm just like, that sounds nuts to me. I hear it on both sides all the time. It's very rare that I hear, sense being made, but
I
it's a game, dude, and
I know
the
I
world will be
completely
fine.
understand what you're saying about the rhetoric, but once again, I come back to actual actions that they have done that have actual consequences.
See, if you take that one law that you're talking about, because there was another law about the COVID thing. Remember the one where they banned schools from being shut down to prevent the spread of COVID? Did you see that?
I don't remember that.
That was one of the laws that went into effect in September. was that was a Texas law that you can't issue mask mandates, you can't issue COVID mandates to require vaccinations. That also went into effect in September.
Okay.
And so, but what is that at its heart, at its core? That is the government not telling you what to do. So whenever you also bring up the not wanting to be pregnant anymore, the taking care of business, heretofore referred to as taking care of business. Okay, so
Okay.
y'all pay attention to that, audience. Every time we say taking care of
It's
business,
a
you know what
code.
we mean,
Yeah.
and you got to take a shot. So and like the video and subscribe and share it on all your social media. But no, like it's it's logic dictates that their entire platform is don't tell me what to do. They thought policing, right? They don't want the left to tell them how to think or what to say. They don't tell me what to say. Don't tell me what to do. I'm not going to wear a mask. This is my body, my choice, and all that stuff, right? But
Okay.
then they're telling everyone else what to do. It's hypocritical. It's stupid. It's foolish. I hate it. But it's an individual law. Because did you see?
Yeah, I mean, I do think that there is a comparison to be made by making people wear masks and then also making people not taking care of business. I,
You,
I think it's basically the same. Yeah.
so, but is it not?
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
Do you really think that you're being
Yeah.
facetious?
I think wearing masks and taking care of business is exactly the same.
You're being facetious?
Yes, being facetious.
It's the government telling you what you can and can't do.
Yes,
It is the
but for
same.
example, there used to be
You're not
a law that said you didn't have to wear a seatbelt, right?
right, and then it
And now there
changed.
is a law that's the government telling you you have to wear a seatbelt, you have to put your child in a
Right.
car seat.
So then what?
So there's good reason that
It's
the
the
government has to tell
same.
you what to do.
It's the same. It's just one is heavier. All right. That's it. It's the government at its core is that that's the same thing. So it's I'm making this point for you that it's hypocritical. I'm on your side in that it's hypocritical. It's stupid for them to say, "No, don't tell me not to wear a mask," but then in the same breath tell someone else what they can and can't do to their body. Because one is designed to keep you safe and the other is designed to keep you safe in the instance of this lady who's trying to take care of business so she can live.
I think if you just ignored the rhetoric and focused on actual laws that are passed, you
But you
would
see, that's the thing.
you would come around to my side.
You can't. Well, I'm pretty much on your side. I don't respect the game being played. I refuse to be a part of
Yes,
it.
but the game is going to be played no matter what.
And the world is going to be fine for it.
It might not be. That's the
That
thing.
see that is I am also of that opinion. Is the world will the things will happen as they need to happen. I dude, this sounds so conspiracy of me. This is why I was bringing up the population collapse. I really feel like they're trying to, because you already know about like Gen Z and all these new, they're like basically people are having kids at later ages. We have an entire generation of kids coming up that are just zero interest in I don't know how to phrase it, not taking care of business, but getting business or business time. There you go, business time.
Okay.
We have a generation who is what was it, 40% of people. They polled some kids about like seeing public displays of affection and stuff, and it was like, yeah, like 40% of people were like, okay, yeah, it's fine, but everyone else was like, no, doo doo. And so like the general sentiment is that like it's not there, the interest is not
Are
there.
you talking about of having children?
Business time.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
And so
I mean, I am one of those people. I'm a millennial
wait, no,
that
Gen Z is not the same as millennial. What's after Gen Z?
I don't know, dude.
Gen Alpha or
But
something like that?
okay, well, not even. I'm not forget what forget what generation you are. I'm 38 years old. I don't have a child, and honestly, I'm not planning on having a child
I think
anytime
Kevin should
soon.
have a baby because we just had one.
And there are numerous reasons.
Of course, everybody has reasons, but the idea is that that that
and
the
and
newer
honestly,
generation's not coming up.
and I am honestly super, pessimistic about the future of the human race altogether. So,
Well, you see, that was the thing I was talking about. Was I had
and
seen
and
a
and when things are so bad, I mean, why would you want to bring a child
so
into
they
this
can
world?
affect change. The idea was that the world population is going to reach like a tipping point, and then after that, after I think they said it was like 9 billion, that it's going to fall. And I need to cite stuff, obviously. Like I'll have to look it up and I'll text it to you. And if it ends up being super interesting to you, we can revisit it.
Okay.
But basically that it's going to reach like 9 billion, and then they said that it's going to start dipping. You already saw that in China though, how in China how they had the one child policy
Hmm.
and they weren't replacing the generations before. So they have a younger generation problem right now. So now they've repealed that, and it's back to however many kids you want or whatever. But then you have places like Japan where they're also not having kids. The birth rate is low. I think what see, I don't know if the place I got the numbers are from super accurate. So if I sound wrong, like I'll definitely correct it later when I'm educated on it enough. But I think they said the birth
Well,
rate was like 2.1.
part of that is, of course, the challenges of having a child. You have to have, you got to have, some money, right?
Yeah.
You can't be totally poor. You got to have some kind of child care plan,
So the
and
conspiracy theory though
and
from
I think
me,
and I think in America there is at least one political party who would like to have, more child care options.
that's why I think it's a balancing act. Cuz I think that them overturning RVW from them wanting to not let people take care of business freely, that the purpose of that was to force people to have more babies. And then I
No,
know how
that
crazy
I
this
mean that's
sounds.
that's culture wars
I
what that
know,
was.
I know how this sounds crazy, but then when the opposing president comes in, they're the ones that support him, and so it's like a teeter tottering act, and a balance that, dude, just I honestly feel like I'm not. Most young people don't waste their time with it because everything is just gonna probably be okay.
Yeah,
I could be wrong.
for me and you, I mean it's probably going to be okay. For people that might die if they can't take care of business, it might not be okay.
Yeah, and for that, I do think that's like, but okay, what can be done? Are they just going to have to wisen up these lawmakers?
um well, people need to vote for a certain political party more
The
so
independence.
they can take care of business.
I say independence, like in Firefly, when they go into that like that third, what would you call it? That backwater planet, and he goes in on Independence Day, and that country dude is in there, and he fought for the Federation, or what was the group called?
I don't remember.
Alliance. He fought for the Alliance, and here comes Captain Mao with his brown coat on,
Mhm.
and he's at the bar and he's talking all that crap, and that guy's like, "You one of them independents." Dude, that stuck with me so much. Oh God, dude, you one of them independents.
So I don't know if you want to wrap up this particular section
Well,
of the
what
show,
what else did we have
but
last week?
I mean, I would encourage people to look up actual on the books laws and policy to see how that may affect you.
Also, there's 777 laws that passed for from Texas. So don't listen to Kevin's doom and glooming, because they also passed one that required a armed guard at all schools. They also,
That's a band-aid on a
well, that's
on a on a on a on a huge, bleeding wound.
like I feel like that's a good step though.
I saw a post on the internet. This was on Reddit on how, I mean, how the subreddits work, right? They're all their own little communities. This particular one are conservative, so you know what they're into.
Yeah.
It was a post celebrating that the majority of school shooters this year weren't white.
Oh, really?
Really.
Is that true?
I mean, according to that post, it is. And they were like, "Ha, yeah, they weren't the they
Finally!
weren't mostly white."
They're like, finally, we lost the ground. God dang it. Yeah, that I feel like even like it's obvious, but I mean, in terms of, I don't think that matters one way or the other because it's like population. You know what I mean? Like population, they're the majority. Uh, so it just makes more sense. I don't know. Have you ever watched the Hodge twins?
I don't know who that is.
It's the two. It's the two black guys who constantly are like commentating on like videos.
Mm-mm.
Anybody who watches our show should watch them because they're hilarious. And the thing that I was noticing about them, because at first you think like, oh, they're super conservative, right? And they probably are. I mean, they have a big, gigantic American flag, and they're constantly making fun of people, and they're making light of a lot of stuff. But I've noticed that they have never had an opinion. Now, of course, y'all could probably find something that they say that I disagree with, but they have never had an opinion that I disagreed with. Every time I watch like a reaction video where they're talking about something, they always call it exactly like they see it. They call it as it is, not as what they want it to be, or not as, you know what I mean? It's like perfectly, they perfectly encapsulate my feelings every time I watch, like, you know, two people fighting in Walmart getting arrested, you know, and them, everyone yelling at the cops for being racist and this and that. And it's nuts. Like, it's nuts how perfect these two guys accurately like portray what I feel. And
Okay.
I definitely want to show you that. But like anybody who wants to understand me on a fundamental level, it's those guys. I'm gonna show them to you, and you're gonna be like, "What the fuck? These guys, there's nothing like you, Caleb."
Okay.
But
To bring it back
oh,
to a lighter note, did you want to talk about the VGAs at all?
who won Game of the Year?
That was Baldur's Gate.
Boo,
Bobby really
boo.
liked it, so I mean, I think it's a good game. I watched her play it a little bit.
Uh,
Mario won a category, Zelda won a category, Pikmin won a category.
what was
Spider-Man didn't win
I
anything.
saw that. That was what I was about to comment on. Was on Facebook. There was I want to shout out. I don't remember the guy's name, but he's dense is a pretty good word to describe him. Someone had commented. Someone had commented on an article that IGN posted, or somebody posted about, you know, PlayStation fan, or no, Spider-Man fans are upset that Spider-Man didn't win anything at the Game Awards or whatever, and blah blah blah. And so someone got in the comments and they were like, this game was not that good. It was probably an 8 out of 10, a carbon copy of the previous two games, but with a wingsuit. Doesn't deserve Game of the Year. And so there was like a bunch of people, you know, butthurt and crying. And
Okay.
so I commented, yeah, but that was a pretty dope wingsuit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I put. And a bunch of people, you know, laugh reacted, and I'm like, yeah, I did it. I did it. And then someone commented, it wasn't Game of the Year good. And I was like, you
Get over yourself.
dense piece of shit.
Street Fighter beat Mortal Kombat for best fighting game, which is kind of a no-brainer.
What you say, no brainer, but like, historically, I don't think that that's happened
I,
before.
I don't think that Mortal Kombat has ever beat Street Fighter when they were released in the same year. I
Dude,
think the only times Mortal Kombat has ever won was when they released in a different year.
Mortal Kombat has like the public opinion in like the highest regard. It's nuts. Mortal Kombat
Yeah, but
routinely
I think the
outsells Street
VGAs
Fighter.
are I think the VGAs are kind of like the Oscars where the majority is voted on by like
Game developers.
critics and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Well, that makes sense. Street Fighter 6 is pretty dope.
Yeah. Did I say Street Fighter 5? I feel like might have
You
said
might
Street Fighter
have,
5 earlier.
but I just like to throw the word dope out there a lot now because I'm super hip.
There were a few announcements. There was a new Monster Hunter announced, which I was pretty hyped for.
I saw Kojima showed off their game, right?
I'll get to that in a second. The
Oh,
Monster Hunter doesn't come out till 2025, which is super annoying.
GTA 6.
So yeah, same thing with GTA 6. Kojima announced a game called OD, which seems like it's going to be kind of like a thriller like PT. I'm assuming. All it is like two people's faces like saying some lines, and it's just kind of weird.
Someone needs to take the keys from the keys of the car away from Kojima.
And I think it might end up being an Xbox exclusive because at the
It's
end of the
definitely
trailer it had the Xbox on
that was
there.
announced like a year ago.
Okay.
Microsoft had announced that they were working on something special with Kojima, but they paid for it. So
Yeah.
Kojima probably needed the money because Death Stranding probably wasn't that hot. I am of the opinion Kojima should be locked up at Konami headquarters and forced to make Metal Gear forever.
Let me try to see real quick. You might have to edit this out. What else was announced?
All I know is
There was a lot of cinematic trailers that didn't show what the gameplay was going to be like, and that's super annoying to me. I cannot get hype for something if I don't know how it's going to play. It's anti-hype.
you say that, but you were there when the Final Fantasy VII remake trailer came out, and there was surely no gameplay in that.
That's different
That was a
because
cultural phenomenon.
yeah, because that's like a nostalgia thing for me. Let's see what else was announced here. I mean, yeah, like I said, there seemed like there was like a bunch of sci-fi stuff announced. There's a new game by the No Man's Sky people, so that's probably going to be pretty cool. It's like fantasy instead of sci-fi.
If I had to name my game of the year, it's probably Bloons TD6.
Elfelt was announced
Is that a spinoff
for
for
Guilty
Guilty
Gear.
Gear?
Remember the girl with the gun?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, okay.
Wait, she was announced as a character for Guilty Gear?
Yeah, I think she might be already out,
I wish that
actually.
she just had like I
Oh,
hated the
the
controls.
the Final Fantasy 16 first expansion is already out.
Oh crap, really?
There's another expansion on the way at some point.
Is
I was
it
gonna tell,
free?
and I don't think it's free. I think you gotta pay for it. I was gonna tell you to play it and
I'm
tell
gonna
me if
get
it's
that
good,
tonight,
but
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's just like gonna be taking place in the middle of the story, right?
That's okay.
It's gonna be like, oh, by the way, you didn't see this happen for some reason, but this is what had happened.
That's fine.
I think that's actually kind of annoying to me. I don't like that, but we can go into that another
This
time.
episode I'm gonna call it Stuff Kevin Doesn't Like.
Yeah, exactly. And there was a new Hellblade 2. I know you did not play the first one.
That's the Sinuous Sacrifice?
Yeah, that's the one that you didn't want to play because you hear
Because she's
voices and
crazy.
stuff.
It's because
Yeah.
she's going crazy.
There was a Jurassic Park game. There was a Blade game announced, like Blade from Wesley Snipes' Marvel.
Wait, Wesley Snipes Blade?
I don't think Wesley Snipes going to be in it, but it's a Blade game.
Oh, I don't like that.
They didn't show how that's going to be played. I guess Skull and Bones is finally getting a release date.
Skull and Bones I thought already came out.
Mm-mm. It says Skull and Bones release date trailer.
I thought that was on the X-Bone.
No.
Shout out to me for a second because I am like the progenitor of all things trendy and I never get credit for it. Like when the Wii was first announced and I found out because I was working at GameStop and when the Wii was announced and then they said, oh, they're going to call them. I said, what's the Wii controller? You know, we're just going to call it the Wii controller. And they were like, no, it's the Wii remote. And so I started saying Wiimote the very first time I heard it. Now I'm certain that there's other people who also said Wiimote.
I refer to all remotes as Wiimotes to this day.
But I stood there and I was like, Wiimote. And then I laughed. When the Xbox One was announced, me and Kevin come from the glory days of the console wars, and I still call the PS 3. And you know what I mean? Or what about the Xbox 3 Fix Me? And like that wasn't me though. I didn't come up with that. That was
Oh.
those are Penny Arcade jokes.
Yeah, I remember the Penny Arcade one. There was the T-Rex box and the XXX box and
The PS4 and oh wait, no, the Xbox 3 Fix Me was something different. But anyway, so then God dang it, what were we just talking about? It was the X-Bone.
yeah.
When the Xbox One was announced, the very first thing I said was X-Bone. Because it's Xbox One.
Makes sense.
Duh. And that never stuck. Also, when freaking COVID came out, and I was like, the C virus. Why is nobody calling this the C virus in the gaming world? Nobody's saying C virus. Everybody's like, oh, COVID-19 or this and whatever. Call it the Rona. And I'm like, no, Rona's dumb. Call it the C virus. Y'all played Resident Evil. Wesker's white.
Apex Legends announced. We played that for a couple hours. Announced a crossover with Final Fantasy VII. Makes perfect sense that those two IPs would go
I'm
together.
finally going to get into Apex.
Apex Legends and Final Fantasy VII.
You know, I really am like the perfect customer. but for like this very most specific of things.
There was a new DBZ game. This is not a new Dragon Ball Fighter Z. This is a new basically game in the Budokai Tenkaichi series, which is so inferior
Boo.
to Fighter Z.
Yeah, Fighter Z is literally the best Dragon Ball fighting game that ever came out, and I played Mugen.
Yeah, I think that was pretty much the main stuff.
You never played Mugen, did you?
You're talking about Mugen?
Okay, Mugen, Mugen.
MUGN?
Yeah,
I never played it, but I mean, I used to watch Salty Bets a lot.
Mugen was great.
Yeah, it's
I
hilarious.
I'm gonna keep saying Mugen.
Omega Tom Hanks.
Um, I was more into Gogeta back in the day when I could throw out spirit bombs and just one shot everybody.
And then of course, there was the GTA 6 trailer, but that wasn't at the VGAs.
Dude, I'm an idiot.
What's up?
I completely forgot that Mugen was like all encompassing.
Yeah.
I'm over here because when I played Mugen for the first time, it was like you could download your characters.
Yeah.
And so the version I played was just nothing but DBZ
Oh,
because it was like a
really?
DBZ fan. And so
Okay.
every time that I think about it, it's always like, oh yeah, Spirit Bomb.
Well, I mean, you've seen like the Ronald McDonald character
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Omega
yeah,
Tom
yeah.
Hanks
They're
and all
they're
that,
great.
right?
I
Yeah.
watched those too. Yeah. When
Okay.
Omega Tom Hanks, when I first found out about that, I was like, dude, this is great. This is so good. Momo said. Side note, Forrest Gump. Do you remember the quote about the box of chocolates?
Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
But he never said that.
What did he say?
He said life was like a box of chocolates.
Okay.
Because he was speaking in reference to what his mother would say. He said, Mama always said life was like a box of chocolates.
Okay.
And so it's just funny because everyone always says life is like a box of chocolates, but that's not a direct quote.
Oh. Okay.
I've been watching a lot of Mandela effect videos,
All right.
and people remember really stupid things, but I'll be honest, I was wrong like 50% of the time on what I remembered as I'm watching these videos. For anybody not in the know, Mandela, hey Johnny, Mandela effect.
Why do you assume Johnny doesn't know what that is?
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
Johnny's a smart
yeah,
guy.
yeah. Johnny probably knows. Maybe Sam. Maybe you made it this far, Sam. He probably knows what it is too. Well, for the uninitiated. So, in case anyone's in the room with Johnny or Sam, hey, Johnny's wife and kids, or Sam's wife and kid. Mandela effect is. I'm not even gonna explain it. Past it. We're past it.
It's been about an hour. You want to wrap it up, or is there anything else you want to go over?
We need to
We're
get.
coming out with some GTA 6 content pretty soon.
We got sketch. We have a sketch in the plan
And
right
it's
now.
hilarious, trust me.
GTA. We have a sketch for a new Yellowstone.
Mhm.
Wow! I love doing that to the babies, dude, because they're like, "What's going on? His glasses are moving." What's glasses? But new Yellowstone, a Yellowstone Christmas.
Mhm.
What did the old boys get besides ornery? um,
And hopefully all these will feature more people than just me and Caleb.
Yep, we're trying to. Hey, actually, yeah. Anybody want to come out and act in the show? We got to hit up Becca, see if she wants to come.
Yeah.
Um,
Erica was off this weekend, but I did not invite her because she brought back a mysterious illness from third world countries.
she can't donate blood for a couple months. I guess that's it for the show.
All right. Like we already said before, like, comment, subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe, your social security numbers. Not like I wouldn't even know what to do with them. What am I gonna do?
Me neither.
My credit's pretty good.